there's no question that when a celebrity endorses a cause or advocates a position, people take note. Oftentimes, it's a good thing. Sean Penn advocated for victims of Hurricane Katrina. Bono has been lauded for his activism in Africa, but other times it gets dicey. Enter Suzanne Somers.
The actress Suzanne Somers, best known for her 1980s role on the sitcom Three's Company, has been an outspoken advocate for alternative medical therapies ever since being diagnosed with breast cancer in 2001.
Somers turned to Iscador, a drug made from mistletoe extract, which is not even sold in the U.S.
Both the FDA and the American Cancer Society have issued warnings about those therapies. Still, Somers claims it worked for her, and she rejected conventional chemotherapy.
I said to the doctor first off, I said, I can't do that.
It's her body, her choice, but how does that make her an expert in medical care? This week, the Wall Street Journal's The Experts page posted a piece by Somers entitled, "The Affordable Care Act is a Socialist Ponzi Scheme." In it, she offers this sweeping conclusion. The Affordable Care Act might work if you don't get too old and you don't get too sick and you don't live too long. While the Wall Street Journal was forced to print several corrections and amplifications to Somers' op-ed, it didn't touch her basic argument that the Affordable Care Act is a Ponzi scheme and socialized medicine, leading the Los Angeles Times to write, "It's embarrassing even to have to debunk this." CJR.org goes one step further, saying, "The Wall Street Journal, of all places, shouldn't be going anywhere near a dangerous crackpot like Suzanne Somers on the topic of health care."
Callie, this is a classic example of where Suzanne Somers speaks to something on a position side, on a polemic side, that the Wall Street Journal believes, that Obamacare, the Affordable Health Act, is not good. So they bring in somebody who has got this extreme position but isn't well informed. I mean, the Wall Street Journal?
Yeah, it's a little surprising on two fronts. First of all, if you're going to get a celebrity who you want to line up with your policy, there are some. There's some doctors, there's some scientists, there's some other people who have strong feelings about the Affordable Care Act. Not about the science of it, but about whether it's, the best thing, maybe we could do it this way or that. What about those people? And I'm sure there are some people with names we know that they could have been engaged to do this. How does Suzanne Somers, whose big thing really has been about hormones and some other issues, end up being an expert on a policy and a system? It's one thing if you want to say, hey, this is somebody who just has an opinion about it. We can all have an opinion that does not make us an expert on it.
And she just stuck to the medicine and not going into the economics of it, that it was a Ponzi scheme.
But she knows nothing about medicine. Let's just be honest.
That's right.
Suzanne Somers is it's not as if she has a narrow field of expertise and a broader field she stepped outside of. She's a nut. And I mean, if she wants to write an op-ed about thigh masters and whether they're going to save the healthcare system, that's fine. But I fundamentally think that there are certain, another example is Jenny McCarthy, who has some very out there and wrong ideas about autism and vaccines. If I were running a legitimate news organization like the Wall Street Journal, I would want to stay as far away from those people as I could.
Well, let's try to put this in a broader context here, because the Wall Street Journal's news pages are as good as they get. Excellent journalism. The editorial pages have long been an outpost of right-wing crackpot theories. I mean, they once put out an entire book on columns that they had published about various conspiracy theories involving Vince Foster.
Oh, yeah.
So this goes way back. It predates Murdoch by quite a bit. So yes, I agree with everything you're saying. I'm not surprised that the Wall Street Journal would be a home for this. Or I should say, I'm not surprised that the Wall Street Journal's editorial section would be a home for this.
First of all, I don't think we're giving Suzanne Somers enough credit here, because millions of lives were changed by those thigh masters. I mean, I understand that she did those commercials for years. I didn't know about the hormone stuff. But, I mean, the solution here is simple. I get the whole idea of having celebrity people write on your op-ed page or any place else. When I was at Boston Magazine, we used to have celebrity people in Boston write stories, and then they would give the stories to me or other people, and we would fact-check them with the writer and go over them and sometimes, frankly, rewrite them because they weren't right. writers, and that's what you did. So the Wall Street Journal just looks ridiculous. This was not that difficult, just to go fact check this. It's not like it's a breaking news story that they had to rush into the newspaper. So the Journal just looks silly for not having checked this. And many people, I mean, the classic is the Angelina Jolie New York Times op-ed about the preemptive breast surgery. I mean, that was she's an actress, and she wrote this thing, and I would presume that the New York Times checked any medical facts she put in there.
Yeah.
So it's
hers was based on science, but that was my whole point.
But they also, she made it clear, this is my decision.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about my decision.
Yeah.
They fact-checked all this other nutty stuff she wrote about quotes from Lenin and all that, and then they corrected it after the fact, but they didn't correct her on the basic premise of the story, which was that it's a Ponzi scheme.
You have to do that, I think, before.
They agree with that, apparently.
Yeah, they just look foolish. They just look foolish, and I think they won't do it again.
And I can't figure out why you would, stand on the sword for Suzanne Somers. I mean, there's some other people to stand on the sword for, but why her?
Well, the
corrections
show that they cared whether it was accurate, but they have no interest in whether it was true.